Man, why can't we have nice things? What's up, Sooner Nation, and welcome to another episode of the WhackoReview Podcast, where we go over all things OU football every Monday after the weekend of matchups behind us. I'm Steve Curtis, the voice behind Wacko Sooners. And unfortunately, the Oklahoma Sooners 2025 season has come to an end after a hot start against the Crimson Tide at home on Friday, taking the lead 17-0, and then a total collapse in the second quarter, and then just an inability to claw back and take the lead again in the second half. The Tide won 34-24, and they're advancing to face the Indiana Hoosiers in the Rose Bowl on New Year's Day in Pasadena. We've got plenty to dive into, reviewing Oklahoma's performance, where they went right. There was plenty of that where they went wrong. There was way more than that, or in that, than there was right. And, just what to focus on as we say goodbye to Team 131 and look towards the offseason and getting ready for 2026. We're going to break it all down right here on Wacko Sooners. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell button so you never miss an episode. Plus, you can follow us on all of our socials, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter X, all at Wacko Sooners, for live news updates, game highlights, and, of course, some memes and reels to keep it lighthearted and fun, like we like it here in Sooner Nation, particularly now. Now, before we get started, one little housekeeping update. This is going to be the last Wacko review of 2025, and that program, along with the Wacko previews, both will come back in the 2026 season in September when OU gets ready to go back to war on Owen Field. And in the meantime, we will be downsizing to the Wacko Weeklies with weekly updates, and then, of course, with the Wacko Alerts, which are for emergency updates. Say we have a big coaching change or a key player enters the transfer portal, or just massive updates like that. We will have Wacko Alerts that will come out at any time. That being said, let's dive right in. We'll start with the pure numbers like we normally do in our Wacko reviews, and then we'll kind of go down the rabbit hole of fan thoughts and just greater outlook as we head into the offseason. So again, final score, Alabama 34, Oklahoma 24. Oklahoma was a 1.5-point favorite at kickoff. Oklahoma had 362 total yards on offense, 307 passing, 307 passing, 55 rushing, 6 yards per play, 18 first downs. They were 7 of 18 on third down, 1 of 1 on fourth, 1 interception that proved very costly, and then allowed 5 sacks. Alabama, again, scored 35. They had 260 total yards, 232 passing, 28 rushing, 4.8 yards per play, 12 first downs. 2 of 12 on third, and then 1 of 1 on fourth, no interceptions, and 4 sacks. This was almost kind of a reverse of the first matchup in Tuscaloosa back in November, because in this game on Friday, Oklahoma outgains Alabama, outdoes them on first down, is better on third, better rushing, better passing, all across the board. The only issues that we have on offense were the 1 turnover and then 1 more sack allowed. But if you just look at those pure numbers, you probably feel pretty good about Oklahoma winning the game. But for those who watched or were there and watched, or watched at home or have since watched it, that wasn't the case. A lot of costly self-inflicted mistakes, and we will definitely dive into all those. So first off, let's talk about John Mateer in the passing game, all right? Now, I know he's been getting a lot of flack on social media this season, particularly the last couple of days since the game on Friday. And I'm here to tell you that 90% of that is baseless right now. All the complaints from Friday, 90% are baseless. Man had his best game, in my opinion, as a Sooner. His best game as a Sooner. Yes, the pick 6 was costly, and we will talk about that. But right now, looking at his numbers, 26 of 41, so that's 63.4% completion for 307 yards, 2 touchdowns, both of which were fantastic passing touchdowns, the 1 interception. Now, of course, his rushing stats weren't great, but factor the sacks in there. He was sacked 5 times, 19 carries for 15 yards and a touchdown. I was impressed. Now, what do I mean by that, right? Because a month ago, when Oklahoma goes to Alabama in Bryant-Denny Stadium, Mateer threw for 138 yards and no touchdowns. had a singular rushing touchdown. They did not push down the field hard. They had a couple of good shots that were, greater than 15 yards, but not crazy. On Friday night, John Mateer went insane. He played like September Moneyline Mateer. All right? He was slinging the rock. He was on target. He was on time. And in the first 20 minutes of the game, he scored 17 points. 17 points in the first 20 minutes of the game. All right? First drive was a little slow. Had to get into a rhythm. I was a little bit nervous. Second drive, he starts off with a good run and then keeps going, goes for the rushing touchdown. Then the next drive goes and gets the field goal, or gets Tate Sandell in position to get the field goal to take it up 10-0. Then in the second quarter, absolutely just rockets. All right? And passes it to Satania right there in the end zone. And even then, had a mishap with the pick six. Note how I didn't mention the drop pass to Xavier Robinson, because I've got a whole slew of stuff to talk about there that's not on John. But you have the pick six. He still climbed back in the second half, and Alabama was bringing more pressure on defense, and he was still attack. Gets them into striking distance, bringing it up 24-27 with Alabama in the lead, passing it to Deion Burks for that 37-yard touchdown. Just absolute fantastic play by John. Sure, he missed a couple of reads. Sure, he was a little slow sometimes. Sure, he threw the pick six. And that is a big issue. And we're not going to downplay the pick six here. But September John Mateer came to play. September John Mateer returned. His feet need work. Absolutely. If we can fix his throwing motion with his release point from his ear, would love to fix that. If you can fix his eyes and get him faster at reading the defense pre-snap and not focusing on one receiver before the ball touches his hands, this man's going to be insane in 2026. I want him to stay. I know a lot of people want him out. I'm going to say right now, all y'all that want him gone, I think you're a little cuckoo, just a little bit. I think you need to think long-term investment here. Like I was saying back after he injured his thumb before the Texas game, I was thinking long-term investment. If we lose a couple games and his draft stock comes down, he's going to come back another year. He's going to come back in 2026, and he's going to be better. The offense is going to be better, and he is going to pop off, in my opinion. Now, if it doesn't work out that way, if he stays healthy all of 2026 and is bad, I will come on here and I will eat crow. Absolutely. But until then, I'm going to say I think this dude's still got great capacity to be special. And I think the thumb injury really set him back physically, and then had some issues that followed mentally because of mistakes that were made, because of the inability to throw the ball as perfectly and accurately as he wanted, because he didn't have his thumb. So, again, he was not mistake-free, but I was not expecting that level of a performance out of John Mateer. And he delivered as best that John Mateer could with his playing style. I did not think he was going to be turnover-free, and he proved me right on Friday. I thought he was going to turn the ball over at least once, and he did. We know that that's part of who John is. He's going to sling it and take risks. It was a bit of a stupid risk that time, but he played to the level of what I think he was capable of doing. John Mateer delivered on Friday night, and the fan base needs to stop being so instant gratification focused and needs to remember where we were 12 months ago, where Jackson Arnold and Michael Hawkins combined, were not ultimately great. Because John Mateer, for crying out loud, where is this? I have this written here. Let's see. John Mateer had 2,885 yards through the air, if I'm not mistaken. All right, yeah. Mateer had 2,885 yards in 12 games. Because remember, he didn't play against Kent State. And then you add Michael Hawkins and Whit Neubauer, you've got a grand total of 3,060 passing yards between your three quarterbacks. Well, three highest up quarterbacks, Jet New at fourth. And then in 2024, you have a grand total of 2,204 in that same number of games. John Mateer took us where Jackson Arnold never could. And I say that knowing, well, yeah, Jackson Arnold went to Auburn, was the same guy, got benched, and he's transferring out of Auburn now, trying to go somewhere else to get better. And I wish him the best of luck. But Jackson Arnold, in that offense on Friday night, wouldn't have scored a single point. John Mateer scored 24. In 4 quarters, John Mateer scored 24, and he was fighting all night long. So lay off the guy. Because remember where we came from. We were projected to win 7.5. The over-under total for Oklahoma this year was 7.5. We go win 10. We go to the playoffs. And y'all are wanting to run the coaches and the players out of town? Come on. Get with the program, guys. Get it together. Appreciate where we are and where we've come from. It doesn't happen overnight anymore. I'm willing to bet you Indiana's not going to go be able to win it all right now. And that's in year 2. I think they've done great for where they are, but I don't think they have all the pieces. Nothing in college football anymore can turn around on a dime in a day or a year. It takes time. The defense has become insane. The offense has gotten so much better, and we saw it go off on Friday night. And there's still things that need improvement, which I think the staff and the team will get done. And 2026 will be a lot better. And I know that I promised I was going to go through the numbers before I got into a fan hole, but man, I can't help the fan hole sometimes. Now, that being said, we're going to move on from John right now, and we're going to go over to the wide receivers. So Isaiah Satania, he basically kind of disappeared because he had 2 receptions for 17 yards. He had the big first down where he broke tackle after tackle after tackle, just kept trucking and went right through. I was there on that side of the stadium, and I was looking right down at it. It happened right in front of me, and I looked at my parents, and I'm like, whoa. I knew dude was fast. I knew he was quick. I didn't think he could power through like that. So mad props there. I was kind of surprised that he didn't get touches any more than that. I mean, I understand a bit because the Alabama defense was going to be watching him like a hawk all night long. But Deion Burks, holy cow, guys. 7 receptions, 107 yards, and a touchdown. His best game as an Oklahoma Sooner. He's had 2 touchdowns. He's had a touchdown in each of the last 2 games, and he had one against Michigan. And it stinks for me, or I think it stinks for him, that he was underutilized this year. And I think a lot of that has to do with Mateer's thumb and just the inability to get anything consistent going in the offense because of the physical and then the mental aspect of John Mateer's game post-thumb injury. And I think he's got a bright future. If he manages to make it to the NFL, I mean, he is a little small, but best of luck to him. Honestly, would love nothing more than to see Deion go ball out. Love that guy. Stayed after 2024 was such a dumpster fire and really went through it, really fought hard, and he showed up these last couple games and really put Oklahoma in a position to succeed. Jer'Michael Carter, the Nice transfer. Wow. This dude was nuts. 3 receptions for 46 yards. He was a big threat over the middle. That big catch where he extended up. Mateer had a big boy throw, and Jer'Michael had a big boy catch. Fantastic. He's going to be a massive component of the passing attack in 2026. I genuinely believe that. Dude's going to do great. Giovanni Gibson, 2 receptions for 41 yards, had that big 38-yarder to set up for the first missed field goal. And I don't say missed field goal with hate on Tate, but Tate Sandell's a dog, all right? Just had a bad night. He hasn't had a bad night all year. Had a bad night once. I understand. Just came at a bad time. But Giovanni Gibson, that catch and the run after it, dude fought for that. Oh my gosh, he was going for it. So I'm looking forward to seeing him in 2026, fully healed from his leg injury in the spring and in a good rhythm. Looking forward to those guys. I think they're going to be positively just great contributors. Add that with, hopefully, if Isaiah Satania comes back, and then Jaden Petit as well. Elijah Thomas. Would love to see those guys on the rotation. I can't complain massively about the receivers' performance because they made the plays. They made a bunch of big plays. And there were a couple drops here and there that you can't have, namely Satania's drop. I forget when. I think it was earlier in the game. But you can't have that. Really got me riled. But at the end of the day, they fought. The receivers and the quarterback, they fought their tails off. Running back. Torrey Blaylock only had 11 carries for 36 yards, and X-Rob had 3 carries for 4 yards. we got to run the ball. And Brent Venables said that in the post-game presser. We got to run the ball more. Got to figure that out. And, yeah. My beef with the running backs. My beef with Arbuckle on the running backs is if Xavier Robinson is only healthy enough to be given 3 carries, go over to Javonte Barnes, who has not played in 2 months, and he's healthy. Who's a program guy, and he's willing to fight. And he'd probably want to have put stuff on tape for places he might be transferring to, because I bet you he enters the portal here in a couple days. I think it would have been a huge move to bring X-Rob out and put Javonte Barnes in to run the rock. Or better yet, he's the best pass protector among the running backs. Bring him in there because John was getting eaten alive in the second half. That's my big beef with Arbuckle on the play calling. Other than that, I thought Arbuckle's play calls were fantastic. Did a great job getting stuff open for John. And even then, if John had seen some stuff earlier, he may have had 350, 400 passing yards. Or no, 350, 400, not 450. But there were at least 350, 400 passing yards on the field for John Mateer. Now, my biggest beef with the running backs, Xavier Robinson and that dropped pass on 3rd and 3. And I know that my take on that is going to piss a lot of people off. You can't drop that ball. And I will dive into that a little bit more once we finish the breakdowns here of the position groups and the defense. O-line. Those boys came out flying to start the game. They were dominating the line of scrimmage. They were saying, screw you, in your face, mother trucker. They were going to kick everyone's tails. And they were. Fabechi at center in place of Michaela, who still wasn't ready to go after his infection a couple weeks ago. Outstanding. Minimal penalties on the line of scrimmage. You had one false start, which you can't have, mind you, which set up a shanked punt from Grayson Miller, who had his own other issues on Friday. And then, of course, you had Eddie Pierre-Louis in the personal foul. That crap you can't have. You saw Brent and Arbuckle rip him apart when he got back to the sidelines. They were not happy, as you shouldn't be. I wasn't happy. My parents, who aren't massive OU fans, weren't happy. They were livid. You can't do that. You can't just come up to Morgan on the sidelines and be like, boom. No, none of that, Eddie. You can't be freaking doing that, man. So while they came out swinging in the first half, you could clearly see once Alabama started bringing pressure and got home a couple times that they were getting in their heads. And they were playing a little bit worried. Can't mess up, can't mess up. They let the enemy get in their heads and dominate them. And they still played really well for 3 true freshmen on that offensive line. Well, 2 true freshmen and a redshirt freshman. 3 freshmen, period. I am so proud of Michael Fasusi, Eddie Pierre-Louis, and Ryan Foje for how far they've come this year. To be freshmen starting on the offensive line in an offense that was inconsistent in the SEC, to start as freshmen in the SEC, wow. Michael Fasusi, true freshman, all SEC. Absolute monster. These guys, these 3 are going to be the nucleus of your offensive line going forward. And you've got Deacon Schmidt and Noah Best coming in behind them this cycle. You've got Cooper Hackett and Caden Penny right behind them as well in 2027. These guys are your dudes. They will be just fine. Another year under Bill Bedenbaugh, we will have a pretty dang good offensive line next year. Need to go get a good piece in the portal, though. Now, defense. I honestly don't know what happened. Because you start out hot. Alabama's drive sheet, like we always go through, okay, in the first half. 5 yards punt, 0 yards punt, 7 yards punt, 75 yards touchdown, 13 yards field goal. So there was a point here with Oklahoma leading 17-0 in the second quarter that Oklahoma had more points than Alabama had yards. There was a point where Alabama had 12 yards and Oklahoma had 17 points. And then they gave up a big drive for a touchdown. 75 yards touchdown, then the 13 yards for the field goal because, a drop pass on 3rd and 3 by X-Rob and then a screwed up punt by Grayson Miller gives Alabama the ball in field goal range. Then second half, you have 11 yards punt, 60 yards touchdown, 40 yards field goal, 28 yards punt, 35 yards touchdown, -6 yards punt, -1 yard punt, -4 yards end of game. And those last 3 drives were just because they knew the offense wasn't going to be able to do it. Brent Venables, who is a defensive play caller, has been so good at halftime adjustments and shutting the opposing offense down after half. Lost the defense, lost their hearts and minds at halftime, and they could not rally and come back. They could not. However, they were successful on 10 of 12 third downs. They were unsuccessful the one time Alabama went for it on fourth. 50 total tackles, 70 tackles for loss, 4 sacks. Owen Heineke had 7 tackles. Eli Bowen had 5. No one else had more than 5 tackles, or 5 or more, I should say. Where in every other game this season, you've seen 4+ guys have more than 5. All over the place. That's why Owen Heineke won Wacko Sooners Defensive Player of the Week. And of course, then Deion Burks getting Offensive Player of the Week with his performance. So I don't know where it went wrong. Actually, I think I do know where it went wrong. Because they started out hot. Those first 3 drives, they only allowed 12 yards. They dominated the line of scrimmage. And then that big touchdown drive where Alabama scored the touchdown on 4th and 2, that was a big momentum moment. That was a big momentum shifter. You needed to stop that on 4th and 2. You needed that. Because you give that up, now Alabama's right back in it. Because you know how explosive their offense can get. Their offense got in a rhythm, and they have a morale boost. They showed up on a good drive, and they got points off of it. And then Brent just couldn't get the defense back in the game. They were less exotic on the line of scrimmage in the second half. So often, we've been used to seeing 6, 7 guys on the line of scrimmage, and then 2 drop back, or 3 drop back, or none of them drop back. So much in the second half, I see 4 guys on the line of scrimmage. I'm like, why are we being so bland? Why are we sitting back and waiting for them to carve us up? Bring as much pressure as you can to rip them apart. It looked bland. And then when it wasn't working, Brent tried to bring up the heat a little bit more. But at that point, it was too little too late. Now, I still believe that this is one of the best defenses in college football in 2025. I do. They won 10 games in the SEC. Perfect on the road. Sure, they allowed a lot of passing yards. But they won the 10 games. They shut down the run, and they were first in tackles for loss and sacks. You aren't able to do that if you're not at least really freaking good. You're not able to carry an inconsistent offense through the back half of the season to a 10-win season if you're not great. So, while this defense, I'm so proud of them for what they've accomplished this year, ultimately, when it mattered the most, they were not enough. They did not bring their best and lost. So, you won't hear excuses from me about Oklahoma losing. Oh, if Oklahoma didn't turn the ball over, they would have won. Oh, if Oklahoma done this, they would have won. Or blah, blah, blah. Or like Alabama fans were saying a month ago, Oklahoma, they outgained Alabama. And so it doesn't really matter. Oklahoma's the real winner. Okay, Alabama, no, you lost the game. Oklahoma, we lost this game. No excuse. We lost the game. Plain and simple. Now, special teams. I don't normally talk too much about special teams in a breakdown. But this was just awful, man. Grayson Miller at punter, okay? Had 5 punts, 211 yards. But good God, man, you had 2 of the worst punts I've ever, or no, not even punts, because I don't even think you can call them that. You had 2 of the worst moments I've ever seen in Oklahoma football. Those 2 jump up to my top 5 list. All right? It's the fumbled punt, the shanked punt from the end zone, the Jackson Arnold fumble against Missouri, the squib kick in the 2018 Rose Bowl, and I'm trying to think, what's another one here? Yeah, the blocked field goal in that same Rose Bowl. Those are the 5 worst moments for me as an OU fan, and I'm sure there are plenty more if I go and dig about it. But, dude, What are you doing? You get the ball and you just drop it. Like, it looked good. What was so wrong with it? What was wrong with it, Grayson? Explain that shanked kick from the end zone. Yeah, you were getting pressure, but you still could have gotten your punt off and done a good job. Your first team SEC. First team all SEC punter. And you choked when you could not. Not okay, man. Now, Tate Sandell went 1 of 3 on field goals. Missed his first one from over 50 yards. I DM'd him before the game. And I just said, I know it's going to be cold, man, but roll him up for us. He rolled him up, and he did his best. Some game management there, some clock management may have had some effect on his last 2 field goals. So, because he was a little bit rushed. So I'm not hating on Tate. I'm not hating on Tate Sandell. Man is our Lou Groza Award winner. Man, first team All-SEC kicker, first team All-American kicker, right? Dude's fantastic. And I think that the staff needs to do whatever they need to do to get him back next year. Because that man is a force. That man is a weapon. And he got the loudest pregame intro ovation from the fan base. More than Mateer, more than R. Mason Thomas, more than Kip Lewis, more than Isaiah Satania. Tate Sandell, the 5'9" kicker in the short shorts, got more applause than any other member of the team before the game. So special teams overall, terrible performance as a unit. The strengths of this team were not their strengths on Friday night, the defense and the special teams. The offense actually proved to be the greatest strength. And it was the wrong day for those key components to drop out, because those first 20 minutes of the game were the best complimentary football that Oklahoma has played all season. And if Oklahoma had been able to play, had managed to play like that all season, I hate to think about where they could be right now if they had done that from the get-go, if they'd managed to put it all together like that. But ultimately they didn't, so I'm not going to sit here and say they'd be sitting at 13-0 right now. At the end of the day, they weren't enough in the matters or in the moments that mattered. They lost to Texas, they lost to Ole Miss, they lost to Alabama in round 2. Wasn't enough. And we need to take that on the chin. We need to take that maturely. We need to take that respectfully and say we weren't enough. It is what it is. And don't make excuses. Because we know Brent's not, we know the team's not. Cortland Guillory on TikTok posted something, a recap of the year. And people were in the comments saying, the refs screwed it, blah, blah, blah. And Cortland Guillory just said, no, we played badly. We lost it. That kind of mentality and maturity and accountability from a freshman, dog. Cortland Guillory is going to be real special. He played really well. I'm very proud of that kid. Absolute monster. Shout out to Cortland Guillory if you end up watching this, buddy. We love you, so proud of you. Can't wait to see you keep going. So now that that's been a bit of a breakdown of just the game itself, or at least numbers-wise in a couple moments, we're actually going to do something different here. Here are my 5 key moments that lost the momentum of the game. The 5 moments of implosion. Because remember, in the second quarter, it was Oklahoma 17-0, and it ended 34-24. So, first one, 4th and 2, Alabama's first touchdown. So, when Alabama adjusted at the line of scrimmage into empty, I do not understand why Brent did not call a timeout to get a better call. Because you see, I went back and I watched about 10 times. Kendall Daniels is standing there pointing at the bunch of receivers, the trip bunch of receivers. And he's like, guys, someone help me out here. Because he was supposed to come in and blitz, and he did. But Lottie Brooks gets free just on a nice little route there, coming right in. Ty Simpson gets it to him. And then 4 missed tackles right there. You have him wrapped up, or you have him dead to rights. 4 guys, 4 defenders have him, and they all miss him, and he gets in for the touchdown. Massive momentum shifter, as we talked about already. And you could feel the energy in the stadium go down in a moment where OU's defense has been so good this year. 4th down in the red zone. And you give it up that way? If it was Daniel Hill, 6'2", 242, just ramming it up the middle, that, I'd hate less. But just a tiny quick route to a wide receiver, and you miss four guys miss the tackle. That was bad right there, guys. That is where the defense started to fall off right there on that drive. Next up, this is the one that people are going to get pissed at me about. The drop pass from Mateer to Xavier Robinson on 3rd and 3. So it's 3rd and 3. Mateer breaks the sack. He rolls out to his left. And he can do one of two things. One, he can run up, get about 5 yards of a gain for a first down before he gets whacked and probably go for the slide and get the first down. Or he can look down and he sees Xavier Robinson running free 3-4 yards away from any defender. The nearest one was behind him 3-4 yards, nowhere near him. If you're a quarterback that knows you can physically make that throw and your running back or receiver or whoever you're throwing it to has a walk-in touchdown and you know you can get it right where it needs to go for him to catch it in stride and go, you're going to throw it. And by gosh, John did it perfectly. He swapped up, threw it as best he could from where he was, and that ball was on the freaking money. And what does Xavier Robinson do? Hands right here, ball hits his fingers. He doesn't reach out. He doesn't go for it. He slowed down because he thought John was going to run. Understandable, but you got to keep running your route. And he kind of just drops his hand, and he doesn't reach out to go get it. And drops the pass, dropped a would-be touchdown. Or at least set up to go get a touchdown if he wasn't able to outrun the DB, which I think he probably would have. I don't want to hear the Xavier Robinson was injured excuses. Yes, he had a knee brace on, but he was well enough to play. He was well enough to get 35 yards down from the line of scrimmage, downfield from the line of scrimmage. He's 35 yards away, and he's way ahead of the DB. He was healthy enough to do all that. He should have gone out and gotten the ball. I don't want to hear running backs, you can't trust a running back to go make that catch. Yes, you can. You train the running backs to not only run the ball, but pass block and to receive catches. Joe Mixon, back in his day, the Texas Tech game, man had a career game, rushing and receiving. I don't want to hear it. X-Rob had an opportunity to go make a play that probably would have been the dagger. And he didn't. That one's not on Mateer. Sure, Mateer could have gone for that 3rd and 3 and just run and gotten the first down. But he made the right call as a quarterback. You see a wide open receiver for a touchdown. You go get it to him. And when the ball leaves his hands and X is completely untouched like that, it is officially on X to go get it done. If X was getting hung on by the DB and it got picked off, then that's on Mateer because it was a smart decision. But it was a smart decision. It was the right read. It was absolutely the right read. Next up, the very next play, 4th and 8, and it went from 4th and 3 to 4th and 4th and 8 off of a false start, right? Grayson Miller's fumbled punt. I don't know what happened, man. You get the ball, you have it, you're looking it down, and you drop it, and you're just like, oh, what's happening? And you don't even go to kick it. Watching it back, I'm actually kind of curious what the problem was. I saw no problem. One could argue that there's a conspiracy theory going on here and Grayson Miller bet on Oklahoma to lose or something. I have no idea. But you can't be screwing that up because then Alabama gets the ball on 4th and 8. They turn it over. They get it down to the 30 or the 35. And then they go get into field goal range and they go get a field goal. Gave them away 3 free points right there. Then the very next drive and the next point here, item number 4 on the list. And these first 4 items on this list are all in the second quarter, mind you. The pick 6 on 2nd and 13 from John Mateer. John Mateer's big mistake of the night. So in the span of 2 offensive drives, Oklahoma gift wraps 10 points away to Alabama. Final score was 34-24. Those 10 points right there were the difference in the game. Now, I'm not saying that if Oklahoma didn't give up those points, they would have won. I'm not saying that they definitely would have. I'm not saying they definitely wouldn't. I'm just saying those 10 points right there, those 2 drives with those moments, change the whole fabric of the game. And if you don't give them at least 10 free points, you have no idea what the rest of the game could look like. But it's a greater than zero chance that it was a loss or a less than zero. I don't know. Point is, you don't gift wrap 10 points, totally different ball game. So this pick six, 2nd and 13. Keontez Lewis was supposed, from what I've been told, was supposed to take 2 steps up from the line of scrimmage, turn, catch the ball, go get more. Set up for a 3rd and 10, 3rd and 9. But instead he runs a go route with Xavier Brown up 10 yards from the line of scrimmage. Bama was in cover 0. And the ball snaps. Keontez goes on the go route. Xavier Brown crashes down on it. Mateer thinks that Keontez is going to be right there. He just immediately throws, doesn't check it, gets picked off, makes a solid effort to try to stop it from going to the house, failed, and it went for pick 6, gave him 7 free points. And then the game was all tied. Absolutely killed the momentum in the stadium. The fans were nowhere near the same after that. Nowhere near. And that, yeah, just you can't have moments like that. That was the moment where all the wind was out of the sails. We were in the doldrums after that. No wind whatsoever. And yeah, just absolute momentum killer. And that goes back to John Mateer, what's going on between his ears. Figure out how to read the defense and know what they're doing and adjust accordingly. He did not know what they were going to be doing, or he wouldn't have made that throw. So yeah, pick 6 was brutal right there. And then the 5th point on this itemized list is it occurred in the 4th quarter. It's 4th and 9 from our own end zone. The game was 27-24. Oklahoma had gone and scored a touchdown to open up the 4th quarter after 50 Cent showed up for the 3rd to 4th quarter break. That was fantastic. I thought that was amazing. That was awesome. And actually, side note, in-stadium atmosphere, the whole show, pre-game, during the game, it was amazing. The only thing that fell short was the fans in the second half. Because even coming up 24-27, getting right up there with them, fans did not do what they needed to do for the defense. They didn't. They were loud when Alabama got to the line, but not when they were in the huddle. But, yeah. So, back to the shanked punt. 4th and 9 from the end zone. Oklahoma's in striking distance here, score-wise. Just give the defense a good field position and get the fans excited. And it said, Grayson Miller takes the ball. He looks at the ball and says, "Hello, sailor." Dead ahead. Punts it, shanks it, almost like a squib kick almost. It goes out to the 35. OU's 35. Alabama picks it up and gets it down to the 30. Or no. It landed on the 39, and Bama was able to get it back to the 35. They had 35 yards to go to score points. And it set Bama up for that crazy touchdown with Jeremy Bernard catching it over the head of, I think it was Jacoby Johnson. So Grayson Miller gift-wrapped 10 points. John Mateer gift-wrapped 7. John Mateer and Grayson Miller, between the two of them, assisted Alabama in scoring 17 of their points. Again, that is not to say that if Oklahoma did not have those moments, that they would have won. I don't know. No one does. I'm not going to sit here and say if they didn't turn the ball over, they would have won. I don't know that for certain. I think it looks like a different game though, and that's not crazy to say at all. If you say it's crazy to say, you're crazy and you're kind of stupid. And yes, I hope that offends you. So off of those 2 crazy punts, I don't hope that Grayson Miller has nightmares about that. I hope he, has a great state of mind. Absolutely. But if he does have nightmares about it, and that means he never does it again, fantastic. Fantastic. So, again, the strengths of this team throughout the season were not their strengths Friday night. Oklahoma is now 0-5 in the college football playoffs. But they do still lead Alabama, all-time record 5-3. So question, and I know I said I'm not going to play this game, but actually I'm feeling a little petty today. We're going to do it a little bit. Since Oklahoma outgained Alabama by 102 yards, the national media is going to say we're the real winners of that game, right? Right? Anyways, that being said, I honestly hope that Oklahoma gets another shot at Alabama here in the next couple of years, since they're not on our regular season schedule. Would love the opportunity to see them in the SEC championship if Oklahoma and Alabama both can get it done, or in a playoff setting in the future, whatever way possible, since, again, we don't face them in the regular season next year. Would love that opportunity to go punch them again. But the Sooners fell short. They didn't deserve to win. I have no shame about saying that. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They didn't play well enough to do it. And it is now on to the next year, on to 2026 and beyond. Now, one point that I want to address before going on to my closing thoughts about the program's future. Fans. We need a damn reality check. Because we showed up the first 20 minutes of the game, and the moment stuff started going south, we started falling off. Now, there are exceptions to the rule. Plenty of people were still fighting for the team all dang game, all the way until the last knee that Ty Simpson took, right? OU fans are flaky. We are sloppy. We are fair weather. Oklahoma was projected at 7.5 win total this year. They won 10 in the SEC. They went to the playoffs, and they fought all the way to the end. And you guys cannot consistently root for them and cheer them on and do your part. You need to be yelling the entirety of the game that defense is in charge. On timeouts, you need to be yelling. Injury timeouts, you need to be yelling. Actually, no, injury timeouts, stay quiet, reverence for the injured players. But timeouts, you're yelling. When Alabama's in the huddle, you're yelling. When Alabama's on the line, you're yelling. When they throw the ball and you're just watching it, you don't stop. You keep making noise and try to throw off the receivers. You make noise 100% of the time. Y'all did not do that Friday night. I'm 22 years old. I'm a young whippersnapper from what I've been told. So if you think I'm being too young and fresh and getting in your face and telling you grown-ups how you're supposed to behave, yeah, I am. Because OU fans for the last 22 years have disappointed me. They do not participate the way that they need to for us to be successful. Now, of course, the team needs to deliver in bigger moments and give us something to be proud of. But a 10-win season in the SEC is something to be proud of. Absolutely. When the whole world said we couldn't do it, that we were going to be the new Nebraska. But OU goes out and goes to the playoffs and wins 10 games in the SEC. Get your head in the right place. Get it out of the sand and looking up and thinking about what this program did this year. I went to Florida. I went down to the swamp when the Longhorns came to town. And I think it is no national secret that the Florida Gators, by their standards, have sucked the last several years and have fallen short. They went 4-8 this year. Now, granted, the Texas game there was a great atmosphere. They were in a good mood. They were winning. They were doing something after having a rough start against USF in Miami. But they still kept fighting all season. One of my best friends and roommate is a Florida Gators fan, born and raised. I call him when he's at Florida games, particularly at the end of the year, when it's bad, when they are 3-8, or I guess 3-7 at that point. I called him when he was at one of the games, and that environment, no matter how bad it was insane. And I'm sitting here thinking, Florida Gator fans are real ones. Oklahoma fans, we ain't anything. We aren't nothing. Because we're sitting on our hands just like, oh, we're not dominating the whole game. It's not worth cheering. Yeah, it is. That's when they need you. Get on it. We are fair weather. We are spoiled. And we have no reason to be spoiled. We haven't won any real thing of real value in my opinion, since 2019 when we won our last Big 12 championship. Or no, I think we won it in 2020. Yeah, pretty sure we did that. Point being, Oklahoma's not done anything of value in the last couple of years. Nothing of massive value. But in the last 4 years, they had a bad first year under Brent because the roster was kidnapped, or I guess abandoned. Second year, got some of the stuff that Brent wanted. You went 10-2. Next year, first year in the SEC, new quarterback, new O-line that's injured all the way, wide receivers injured all the way. And you go 6-7 with a possibility with winnable games that you could have gone 8-5. And then you go 10-2 your next year in the SEC. Or 10-3, I should say now. And y'all are still whining that we're not doing enough. Or that, no, not that we're not doing enough. I'm not on the field doing it. I'm not in the Switzer Center. That they aren't doing enough. They're doing enough. Get it together. Stop being fair weather crazy people. If you're a real diehard, you are cheering with them the entire day and you are not leaving the stadium early. I don't care how bad it looks. You stand with your team. If not, get out of the fan base. If this alienates me from OU fans to an extent, fine. Just means that I'm a real one. Because I was there the whole game. I was yelling the whole dang time. 2 little boys behind me, aged I think 9 and 11, with their parents. They were yelling with me the whole time. Those kids are real ones. Shout out to them. Get it together, OU fans. We got to figure some stuff out. Because y'all showed up in the first half of this playoff game, but you didn't stick with it. You were not enough. You didn't do your job. Y'all want to complain about the team not doing their job? Look at yourselves. Okay, I'm off of that. I'm off that wagon. Apologies. Just get really passionate about it. So looking ahead, where do we go from here, right? So the roster and staff retention is going to be key here. I don't think we're going to see a lot of staff turnover. Might see some at skill position on the offense. John Finley, DeMarco Murray, Emmett Jones. I don't foresee Emmett Jones going anywhere. I could see an argument for DeMarco Murray. I could see an argument for John Finley. The question would be, who would we go get? The defensive staff, on the other hand, perfect. It is what it is. It is, no, not even it is what it is, like it's good enough. It is what it needs to be. These coaches got it. BV as a coordinator fell short Friday night, but the staff together as a unit, excellent. The secondary is coming along nicely, and it will be even better last year. Jay Valai and Brandon Hall have done a fantastic job. Offense, Ben Arbuckle is offensive coordinator. A couple hiccups throughout the year. But Friday night, when he had the full complement of what he could work with at quarterback, man went out and got 300-plus passing yards on a top-tier SEC defense. Arbuckle will be just fine. Arbuckle will be just fine. Get a couple extra pieces in the portal to make it even better. This offense can be really awesome next year, I think. Now, as of right now, transfer portal-wise, 2 guys on defense have already declared, 1 guy on offense. So Kendall Dolby announced on, I believe it was Thursday, senior corner. He'd been playing at JUCO before he came to Oklahoma, had a pretty bad leg injury against Tennessee last year, had to sit the whole year out, came back a little bit later this season, played a little bit here and there, and with the depth at corner, just was not able to break into the rotation, and was listed as, and had already announced before the playoffs that he was going to the transfer portal. So that tells you his standing with the building. Where Javante Barnes, who's probably going to hit the transfer portal, was listed as available and was ready to play. So program guy versus non-program guy right there. Still a lot of love to KD15, Kendall Dolby. Love to him, and had some big plays against Texas in 2023. I'll never forget. But go be great, KD. Go get him. As for the other guy on defense, I actually heard this Sunday night. Kobe McKenzie, junior linebacker, played a lot of middle linebacker this year, was a green dot guy, rotated in and out with Owen Heineke, hit the transfer portal on Sunday, or announced that he's going to hit the transfer portal on Sunday. It won't open for another week or so, or a week and a half. But that was not on my bingo card. With his wife concluding her softball career at Oklahoma, and she's signed to the pros. So, and I believe she's in Oklahoma City. I don't follow softball, so I'm afraid I can't name right now what team she's on. but I would have assumed with that, Kobe would have stayed at Oklahoma. May very well have been told that he was probably not going to be in the starting lineup next year because Owen Heineke did come out swinging. And if Owen Heineke can get his 5th year of eligibility from the NCAA because of the whole lacrosse thing at Ohio State, I see a world in where Owen Heineke would start over Kobe McKenzie, and Kobe McKenzie in his final year would want to go put some more on tape. So I understand if that's the case. We will definitely talk more about that once we get some more information here. Again, this is all very fresh. And then the one guy on offense that has officially stated that he's going to enter the transfer portal, wide receiver Jaden Gibson, didn't play at all in 2024 after his patella injury. Didn't play at all this year either. Wasn't exactly sure how it was going to work. He's going to enter the transfer portal. Had a great season at Oklahoma in 2023. Was very impressed with how he was bursting onto the scene. We were looking forward to his career. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen. But, of course, that was all out of control with the injury. So best of luck to Jaden Gibson. Expect Javante Barnes, as we've said, to enter the transfer portal for his redshirt senior year next year. So that's it for transfer portal news as of right now. And then guys that are going to be aging out, graduating, or going on to the pros. Kendall Daniels at linebacker safety. He played a lot of cheetah this year. That one breaks my heart. What I would have given to see KD5 have more time with Brent Venables and Nate Dreiling and Wes Goodwin and Brandon Hall. What I would have given to see that. Absolutely gifted. Whoever picks him up in the NFL is getting a real one, is getting an absolute tape junkie and a monster of a Swiss Army knife on the field. Kendall Daniels, 6'5", 242. Absolutely fantastic player. Not enough positive words. I'm so glad that Oklahoma had the privilege to have him this year. I'm going to miss that guy. I'm going to miss him so much. Robert Spears-Jennings at safety. Had a lot of great ball over the last several years. Looking forward to seeing where he goes. Great guy. Met him after the Alabama victory in 2024. Fantastic guy. Grayson Halton at defensive tackle. Dominic Williams, defensive tackle. All the people were hating on Grayson Halton when he was recruited by Brent Venables. And look at where he's at now. He's been a staple of this defense the last 2 years. Dominic Williams was a massive pickup in the 2024 transfer portal cycle there in the spring. Came in and became an elite defensive tackle and a great leader in that locker room. Gonna miss Dom. Absolutely love the Williams family. Then Marvin Jones Jr. out there at edge, another 1 year rental like Kendall Daniels. Played at Georgia and Florida State before coming to Oklahoma for his final year. Saw so much development out of him. Just a great compliment on the other side of Taylor Wine and R. Mason Thomas, along with PJ Adebaware. Fantastic development throughout the year. Can't wait to see where he ends up and follow him throughout his career. R. Mason Thomas, one of the all-time Sooner greats on defense. Up there with, I don't even know. The Selmans. Put him up there with the Selmans. Put him up there with Danny Stutzman. All right. Gerald McCoy. Put him up there with a lot of those guys of all-time greats on Sooner defense. His scoop and score against Tennessee will go down as one of the greatest plays in OU history. And I don't think that's crazy to say. But whoever gets R. Mason Thomas is going to have fun working with him and with his size, kind of figuring out where they want to put him. But he's going to be amazing. So much love to those guys there on defense that are definitely going to be gone next year. Guys that may come back, / allowed to come back, have a chance to come back. Kip Lewis has a very big decision to make. Just wrapped up his junior year, popped off, could very well choose to go pro and would get drafted very well with high regard. I think a 4th year would benefit him. A 4th year in Brent Venables' system would be amazing for him, I think. And I think that would be great for the fans as well because they love Kip. I think that staying another year would help his draft stock in the long run. Then Owen Heineke, of course, he wants to come back. He said in the postgame presser he wants to come back. It's a matter of if the NCAA will allow him another year of eligibility because he spent his freshman season in college playing lacrosse at Ohio State. So fingers crossed, prayers for Owen Heineke to get another year because that's who's going to replace Kobe McKenzie if he can get another year. Now, guys on offense that are going to be moving on, Keontae Lewis, Deion Burks, both wide receivers, aging out. Keontae Lewis was a great depth addition this year. Big help earlier in the season. Deion Burks, wish that he could have done more, just simply out of the opportunities he was given on offense and on the field, because he was on the field a lot. It was just a matter of what opportunities were open for him out there. I have a cousin that went to Purdue, loved Deion Burks, and was very sad when he left and came to Oklahoma, but really said that we were getting a real one, and we did. Deion Burks has been a great guy at OU the last 2 seasons. We've been lucky to have him. Derek Simmons at right tackle, another 1-year rental. I think he's going to go on. Looking forward to see how he does. He was a great depth piece there at right tackle. Great strength. And then one that really breaks my heart, probably Jaren Kanak. I don't see a world in which Jaren Kanak is going to get a 4th year of eligibility to play football. Spent his first 3 years a linebacker. Couldn't quite figure it out in the way that it needed to be, and then switches over to tight end and had a really great year. Didn't get a touchdown, which breaks my heart. That actually really makes me mad that Jaren Kanak did not get a touchdown. But then to pop off at tight end the way he has, I see a world in which he goes on to the NFL. I really do. Maybe not at tight end, maybe at a smaller slot role if you get him to lose a little bit of weight. But ultimately, been an absolute mascot in Oklahoma and love him. And Burger, of course. I actually need to order a Burger hat before he stops selling those. But, yeah, Jaren Kanak, absolute great. Now, one guy that I'm absolutely thrilled to have leaving, Jaden Ott at running back. Oklahoma spent approximately $1 million to go get him, and they got 68 yards out of him. And at the first Alabama game in Tuscaloosa, while the whole team was celebrating the win, he's sitting on the sidelines. Not locked in at all. Yeah, you're not playing, but you still need to be a member of the team. That is why he didn't play. He was not a teammate. He was not a positive addition to the culture room. So props to Jim Nagy for going out and finding a guy with all the physical characteristics. And I understand that they were in a rush to get a really good running back, but ultimately was not a culture fit at all. So glad that the Jaden Ott experiment is over, and I hope that we get some more information about that now that his time at Oklahoma is over. Because he's not going to the pros after this year, and he didn't play well last year because he was injured. He's not going to the pros. I would love to get some more information about that whole dynamic. Now, a guy that may come back and has a big decision, Isaiah Satania, who in conference play in the SEC, first in receiving yards, I believe first in touchdowns, and second in most every other category. He's got a big decision to make. And I hope that he chooses to stay another year, because Isaiah Satania with Giovanni Gibson, Jer'Michael Carter, Jaden Petit, Elijah Thomas, whoa. That would be fun. That would be fun to watch. So, Isaiah, please come back, buddy. Offensive MVP of 2025. Come back, please. So from there, what I think Oklahoma needs from the portal, 2 wide receivers, all right? A big fish. Don't know exactly who. If Cam Coleman were to enter the portal, leaving Auburn, and Oklahoma could get him, I would want Cam Coleman. That's not very likely, though. And then, of course, another depth piece that's a bit of a longer-term development, kind of like a Jer'Michael Carter, who's, produced a lot late this year. A legitimate tight end or 2 and I'm talking big 6'4" that can pass and can block, because right now the tight ends can't block. We need better blocking tight ends. But need to go get a legit tight end or 2. You've got Tyler Ruxer and Ryder Mix coming in as true freshmen behind them in this 2026 cycle. You need an elite offensive lineman or 2. You need a guard, a tackle. I don't care. You need an elite offensive lineman to put with these 3 sophomores next year, or what will be sophomores, and then a couple guys at freshmen that may be coming in to play or start. Who knows if they'll start? I don't know. Depends on the injury situation. But you need an offensive lineman that's played elite level ball against elite competition. You need to go get him, and you need to bring him in. And then you need a crazy running back that is a culture fit and is not a massive waste of money. Do your due diligence ahead of time. Then on defense, I think you need, again, a good defensive tackle. I think you need a good edge rusher, a good linebacker, maybe a corner and a safety, just one at every position just to supplement. Like we saw the defensive staff do in 2025. Go out and get a couple extra pieces. Marvin Jones Jr. edge. Kendall Daniels for linebacker and safety. That was all you really needed. Now, that being said, saying goodbye to Robert Spears-Jennings. I mean, they're happy with Michael Boganowski, how he's coming along. You're definitely happy with Peyton Bowen, so you feel good about the safeties. Feel good about corner with Eli Bowen and Cortland Guillory, Tristan Haynes, and Malik Hawkins coming up behind them. We don't know exactly what's going on with Gentry Williams yet as he looks to the future because he is a junior, but he's dealt with a lot of injuries. You don't know if he's going to come back. We'll see what happens there. Reggie Powers there at Cheetah. We'll see what happens there. I think one good guy at each position would be helpful for depth, just a little bit. Because my one beef with Eli Bowen, and I know we all love Eli Bowen, but he did get beat deep a couple times because he's 5'9", and he was going up against 6'2", 6'4" receivers. So I think just some supplementary pickups on defense would be good. Now, a couple of just closing thoughts here, and we have run on for quite a while, but it's the end of it's the final Wacko review. We got a lot to talk about here. But some closing thoughts. The program is trending upwards. We saw what they were capable of getting after it when they had all the pieces they needed on offense, defense, special teams, and on the staff levels. Those first 20 minutes of that playoff game on Friday night was the best complimentary ball that Oklahoma has played throughout all of 2025. And they have a whole other year, or they have 8 months to go and put that all together so that they can come out like that from the jump this fall or next fall. But you were projected to win 7.5 games. You go and win 10 in the SEC. You are perfect in road games. Red River doesn't count as a road game because it's neutral site. And that's not me coping. That's just a fact. It's a neutral site game, not a home or away game. Mateer, again, had nearly 3,000 passing yards in his 12 games that he played. Michael Hawkins had 175. Whit Neubauer had 8. Between the three of them, you had 3,060 pass yards in 13 games. Where between Jackson Arnold and Michael Hawkins, you had 2,204 yards in 13 games. You had real improvement on the offensive line and at running back. Not tons of production there at running back, but you need some depth there. And it's a new offensive coordinator figuring things out and having some come-to-Jesus arguments with your running backs coach about who's going to play. Your receivers were healthier. And you've got some great recruits coming in. You've got a great wide receiver coming in Jaden Petit. You've got Jonathan Hatton at running back. You've got Deacon Schmidt coming in on the offensive line. Jake Krell at edge. You've got some good stuff coming in. And 2027 is looking even better already. The program, again, is trending upwards. 2026 will have higher expectations than Brent Venables has ever faced as a head coach at Oklahoma. Head coach ever, because this has been his only head coaching job. But he will have more expectations going into the 2026 season than he's ever had before. And I'm really hopeful that he and those boys are up to the task. Because I love Oklahoma football. And I will cheer for them every game, every moment, until we go get another natty. And even then, I will keep cheering after that. I believe in this program. I believe in Brent Venables and the world that he's built there at Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium. Lincoln Riley could never do, not only as a coach, but as Lincoln Riley could never do as a coach nor as a developer and leader of men what Brent Venables has been able to do in his 4 years at Oklahoma. Brent Venables, Oklahoma, is here. And 2026 has a real possibility to be even better and more consistent, and I'm really hopeful that they can do it. Well, Sooner Nation, that is going to wrap it up for this final edition of the WhackoReview Podcast 2025, where we break down all things OU football every Monday after the weekend of matchups behind us. Because the season's over, doesn't mean that Wacko Sooners is going away, okay? Like we said there in the intro, we are going to be doing our Wacko Weekly podcasts up until fall. And, of course, we will have the Wacko Alerts for massive emergency updates and other things of that nature. If you don't want to miss a beat, if you don't want to miss any of the Wacko Weeklies or the Wacko Alerts, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell button so you never miss an update. And you can follow us on all of our socials, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter X, all at Wacko Sooners for live news updates, game highlights, those Wacko weeklies, those Wacko alerts, and of course, some memes and reels to keep it lighthearted and fun like we like it here in Sooner Nation. Go hit those follows so you are always in the Wacko loop. 2025 has been an amazing season for me as an OU fan, my senior year in college. I'm so grateful to have been able to go to as many games as I did and witness it as much as I did. And I hope that Sooner Nation is proud of what Brent Venables, John Mateer, and Ben Arbuckle have been able to put together this season. With that being said, Sooner Nation, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, stay safe, be blessed. Boomer Sooner.